And then, Bob, would you
Sure.
like to do either comment on that as well, or do the presentation?
Well, I'm going to come at it from a little bit of a different angle.
Sure.
You know, just as an aside, my hat is off to Chip in this conference. We do a lot of this, and little story. 2 months ago, my wife and I were at a Global Green dinner. I sat next to this guy, and we started talking, and I said, what do you do? He says, I put on conferences. He says, I got one coming up. I said, really? I said, who's going to be there? He says, I got Ted Turner, I got Boone Pickens, I got the governor of Colorado, I got the governor of New Mexico, I got Sam Wiley. And I turned to my wife, I go, who is this guy? But anyway, my hat's off to you wherever you are. Great conference, truly. Let me... are we done now? Yeah, we done.
You can tell by how packed the room is on day 3 in the afternoon.
Exactly. I'll try to go through briefly what we do. Creighton is a private equity fund, and we invest only in clean tech. And it came about by virtue of CalPERS and CalSTRS looking into this as a market sector, as something that they wanted to invest in. They set aside $1.5 billion in 2004 to invest in clean tech, and we were fortunate enough to get some of those dollars to invest. So fundamentally what we do is we get money, the majority of our funds come from the pension funds. They go to CalPERS. We invest in clean tech companies. They create jobs, and they do good for the environment. The reason why the pension funds are investing in us is return, jobs, and cleaning the environment. It's very straightforward, very easy. We also have New York City, New York State, New Mexico, a lot of the funds that I would consider to be more progressive. So that's the key to pension fund money coming to us. Now, what in turn do we do with this? Well, that was a slide that basically said, every day when you pick up the newspaper, you read more and more about clean tech. Clean tech now has a focus, a market focus, an investment focus that we haven't seen in any sector next to the internet in 2000. Oh, there it is. That's how you see all those articles. There you go. Similar chart you just saw. The only point that I would make is that if you look, we're trending toward, in clean tech investment, between $8 and $9 billion this year will be invested. That's just equity. And I'll note on that count, on this chart in front of you, look at 2005, we were at $2 billion. Now we're north of $8 billion. And this is only going to consist money that's invested primarily in growth companies or early stage technologies similar to what we do. Trend lines are exceedingly strong. What's driving this business? Well, first of all, we have the pension funds coming in to invest. The public funds have accelerated that growth. We see in the area of clean tech, you see large-scale federal money from the DOE going into companies like A123, CenterPoint. But you also see federal monies going into smaller companies like GridPoint, which is one of ours. We got a $20 million grant from DOE. It's in the smart grid arena. And Propel, which is a distribution company for biofuels and E85, got $11 million from the CEZ, California Energy Commission, as well as the DOE. In terms of when people talk about subsidies coming out of the federal government, I think Governor Richardson talked about it or somebody, but just so everybody knows, if you look at this chart, fossil fuels from 02 to 08 got over $72 billion in tax incentives and direct grants. Renewable energy has gotten about a third of that, $29 billion. So to the extent, and I think a few of the other gentlemen pushed this, if we can start to push that, it's definitely going to help our industry. Big issue for us with our pension funds, and it's been said here, look, if you want to argue about climate change, which I certainly wouldn't, then we're doing clean tech for jobs, okay? Pick security, jobs, whatever. It's all good for the United States. In our portfolio alone, we have 9 companies. We have over 700 jobs in this year alone, and that's an investment that we've done over the course of the last 3 years. That'll be over 1,000 next year and growing. Big plus. Bottom line is, what are we doing with our money? I'll give you an example of 1 or 2 of the companies that we've invested in. Solar power. We've got a company in New Jersey. It's called Petrosolar. Very, very innovative, got great technology. Very simply what they do is they install solar panels on utility poles and in effect through their proprietary technology wire the electrons into the line going overhead. So it's instant sort of urban solar power, if you will. They have a communication device to hook all of these up. There's 40,000 of those in New Jersey right now. When we're finished with the New Jersey project, we'll be generating over 40 megawatts of power right within Plainfield, New Jersey. Other company that we're into, and I'll make this short, GridPoint, big area of clean technology. Those numbers that I said before are literally 50% of clean technology goes to energy, okay? A huge area for investment and a growth area is the smart grid. Basically, if we make our grid smarter, we can save as much as 15% of our electricity use, which means you don't have to build power plants. You can just save it with what we have. GridPoint is on the back-end software company, takes all the information that's analyzed by those devices in your home or in your business, takes the information back, analyzes it for the utility, sends signals back out to say, do something. Power your electric vehicle at 3 o'clock in the morning, not at 6 o'clock at night when you're at peak load. Lower your water heater during the day, things like that. Big area there. And lastly, Propel, which is a distributor of E85 and biofuels. They have a model to work with existing gas stations whereby they buy one of the islands or build a new island. It costs $200,000. We make lease payments to the gas station owner, and in effect are now distributing E85 and biofuel. They're mostly in San Francisco and the Sacramento area. So in short, that's what we do. We've been very fortunate. These things are happening. There is clean electricity that's being generated. There's biofuel that's going out. There's clean building products. And there's many more funds like ours.
Well, there's some hope for you.
Definitely.